Welcome to The Favorites, the podcast presented by Bet365. We are part of the Action Network. Today is our Week 5, Tuesday NFL episode. I am Chad Millman, Chief Content Officer of the Action Network. We are coming off a 5-0 week in our contest, folks. We recorded our Sunday episode before Sunday Night Football, and as we said on the show, a lot of the lines we liked have already moved, which is why you need to listen to the Sunday show if you want to get the best of every number. Today, we will get to our Simon Says and our Exec Decision. Both were winners last week. Thursday, we will do Sharp Calls, Big Balls, Bet of the Week, and Foxhole. This episode, we'll look at the entire board, and we begin narrowing down the 5 picks. We'll enter in the Favorites Podcast $100,000 Pro Football Pick'em contest. Still open for sign-up, still free to play. Still awarding weekly and season-long cash prizes at favorites.actionnetwork.com. Now, let's bring in my co-host, my BFF, my companion, my compadre, my partner in going 5-0 this past week, professional bettor, Simon Hunter. Hello, Simon.
How we doing, Chad?
Dude, you know what? I felt great on Sunday, felt great about the day. And you know what I did Monday morning? Woke up, got to work on week 5. I was looking for numbers. I'm putting notes into our script. I'm doing my research. I'm doing my reading. I'm just getting ready. And I thought about something we did differently this week for the contest that we used to do every week in the other contests we've done in the past, which was we locked our picks on Thursday. And, you know, when we were doing the contest in years past, the other contests, they would lock their lines, I think, on Tuesday or Wednesday, and we had till Sunday to submit. So you and I, by Wednesday or Thursday, we sort of knew the 5 games. You would put them in, and then by Sunday, we're just looking at the lines and saying, okay, do we like this better than this better than this? I think that helped. Do you agree?
Yeah, and I also feel like last week was easy. Like even if we didn't stick with our 5, like I think we were talking about putting the Ravens in because the Watson was out, and it's like, that's the hardest part of some weeks. There's like, we like 7 or 8 games and we're trying to fit it down to 5. I feel like last week we really had our 5, and then even the ones we were thinking about putting in. I mean, we would have lost on the Raiders, but I think we talked Houston, but in the contest they're 2.5, and then we talked Ravens, which I think they're maybe +1. So yeah, last week was great, but yeah, I'm happy to do it again. Like, lock it in Thursday, and if we have to move and change numbers, we will. But if we wake up Sunday and there is a game you're like all in on, I'll never poo-poo it. It's like, if I'm on the same side, it's going to make its way in there. So having the locked in numbers were nice, but none of those spreads mattered, right? All the ones we picked pretty much were either straight up win or the spread didn't even matter. So those are always nice weeks where we got the best of the number, and we had really no worries when it came to switching which one's in and which one's out.
The Favorites Podcast is not a poo-poo podcast. We listen to everybody's side because we want to be all inclusive. As a reminder, the Favorites Podcast is presented by Bet365. Bet365 doesn't do ordinary. They believe that every sport should be epic. Every touchdown, every game, every point, every play, from the moments that are legendary to the ones that fly under the radar. See for yourself when you sign up today with code ACTION, and you'll get $365 in bonus bets when you bet just $1. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older, must be present in Colorado, Kentucky, Iowa, New Jersey, Ohio, or Virginia. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER in Colorado, Kentucky, New Jersey, Ohio, and Virginia, or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. Terms and conditions apply. As a reminder, producer Tito, he was away and now he's back. I can't believe he came back. As a reminder, producer Tito, you can yell at him in the chat, he wants you to catch every episode of The Favorites live on our YouTube channel. So for those enjoying on YouTube, don't forget to give us a like, subscribe to the Action Network YouTube page. Here's our update. So in week 4 in the contest, no joke, this might have been a clue for us, Simon. We had 700 entries finished 5-0. Dozens of people tied for first place because they nailed the tiebreaker of total New York Giants penalty yards, which was 45. So congrats to our winners. Please expect harder and harder tiebreakers from now on. This week's Producer Cup award goes to Rafa Yasel for finishing dead fucking last in the Week 4 contest, going 0-5 and missing the tiebreaker by 65 yards. Seriously, Rafa. Like, I think in the entirety of the Action Network, our experts got one game wrong this entire week. And you win at 0-5. You couldn't choose one game that we all liked. Rafa, email our producer, Matt Mitchell, at podcasts@actionnetwork.com to claim your non-cash prize. Thanks for playing. Week 5 of the contest is live. The Monday Night Football tiebreaker. Length of the first Raiders drive. Good luck, everybody. Let's get to week 5. Before we do that, quick update on our futures. Simon and I like Justin Herbert to lead the league in passing at 25-1. He's 5th. I'm a little anxious about that finger issue. We like Tyreek Hill to lead the league in receiving yards at 9-1. He is 3rd behind Justin Jefferson and Puka Nacua. Jalen Carter, despite Devin Witherspoon doing everything he can to stake a claim to the Defensive Rookie of the Year award, is still the odds-on favorite to win the award. We liked him at 7-1. He is now like plus 100 at Bet365. And don't forget, we like Josh Allen at 10-1 to win MVP before the Bills-Dolphins game this past week. He is now the odds-on favorite. Kudos to Simon. All right. Our theme this week is fading the public because that is what we like to do. And this year, the betting public, meaning when there are 51% or more of the tickets on a side, this season they are 33, 24, and 3 against the spread. The public has lost money each of the past 5 years. So like, this is a big deal. It also might mean time to start fading the public even more aggressively. Simon, we got the Chicago Bears visiting the Washington Commanders. They're 6.5-point underdogs. I got a lot to say about this game as a Bears fan. I think this one anecdote will epitomize everything I feel about this team right now. My older son, who is not a sports kid and has never watched a full NFL game, maybe even hasn't watched a half, sent me a TikTok that showed the Bears are the only team in all of professional sports that has not won a game since Elon Musk bought Twitter last October.
No, you guys are the greatest tanking team ever, Chad. I'll keep saying it. It's the damn truth. You're really good at losing.
Well, look, now we've got a chance to get the number 1 and the number 2 pick. The Bears have lost 14 consecutive games, allowed 25-plus points in all of them. That's the longest streak in NFL history. But they were one of the most unlucky teams on Sunday. Outgained Denver by 160 yards, had nearly 30 first downs, had 4 drives ended Broncos territory with no points, including the sack and strip and the fumble return for a touchdown to tie that game. Every part of my body is saying take the Bears here because Washington is overvalued. And this feels like the right spot to fade the home favorite of a big number. What are we supposed to do here?
Yeah, I know some pros have come in on the Bears, but yeah, I'm kind of in the same spot as you. I got no real read on it, where your defense is so horrible, and you've had so many injuries. So you already had bad players on defense, and those bad players have gotten hurt. So now you have those bad players backups playing. It's really an absolute train wreck for this Bears defense. So I want to take it because I feel like Fields could be in this game, and the way you attack this Washington team is deep balls and throwing into that secondary, and that's what the Bears can do pretty well, actually. So I want to take the Bears. I was hoping it stayed at 7. The pro money came in at 6.5 now. I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do this one. I always talk about it. I just like betting primetime under, so I'll take the under. Maybe I'll tease Washington down. It's a long teaser number. You get them down to 0.5. It's hard though. It's like like you just said, the Bears were really unlucky last week. I saw a lot that I liked, but I don't know what to do. It's against a defense that gave up 70 the week before. It's hard to know what to do with this Bears team. So luckily, we don't need to put this one in the contest.
We're not going to put this in the contest. I honestly feel like the play here is patience. And we just talked about fading the public, right? So I think we can anticipate that come Thursday night, we're going to see a lot more money come in on the Commanders, and it will overweigh the early money that's come in on the Bears. And this game will get closer to 7 is what I'm hoping. And then I'll get a chance to see if I can get the Bears at +7, but I'm not getting it unless I feel like I can get the best of the number in this one. Because I feel like the Bears, it's almost like we've talked about Patrick Mahomes is a guy who you throw out all the precedent and the trends because he breaks the system. The Bears defense breaks the system in the opposite way. You know what I mean? So I agree with you. It's a stay away for now. We mentioned our sponsor Bet365's early payout offer for NFL games. We've mentioned it a few times. That's when you cash your bet automatically if the team you back gets a 17-point lead. Last week, Bet365 had its 4th early payout offer cash in 4 weeks when the Bears blew a 3-touchdown lead against Denver. It's just a good offer, people. If you can find it, play it. Go get it. Early payout offer, Bet365.
And the Chad parlay cashed because of it. You're not going to talk about that one? I played it. 10 to, what was it, 11 to 1?
I think so. Nice job. All right.
Of course, there's only $25 I could get down, but I'll take it.
No, that's good. The Jags and the Bills are playing the second London game. The Bills are 5.5-point favorites. Obviously, no home advantage here. I mean, the rule of thumb here has been to play the favorites.
Yeah.
In London, and the rule of thumb is if you're playing Josh Allen, you play the favorite because he wins consistently over the number. Like, I forgot what the number is now, Evan Abrams, but he wins by more than a touchdown a significant amount of time. I guess the Bills.
Yeah, it's really hard because I want to take the Jaguars. It's like they're still in England. They've been there all week. The Bills just had a huge emotional win. In their mind, that was for the division, right? It was like, they're not worried about the Jets. They're not worried about the Patriots. It was Miami. Everyone's talking about Miami. Like, Josh Allen, he was all in on that game, had the best game of the year for himself. Like, just an incredible football. There's always a letdown after that. It's like, this should be a smash spot for me on the Jaguars, but Josh Allen's so good and Trevor Lawrence has looked so bad, it makes it hard for me to want to go all in on this Jaguars team. So, yeah, don't have a read on it yet. Like, I want to take the Jaguars. I was hoping it was gonna be 6.5. Been 5.5 at a lot of books. Just a weird number, weird line. Yeah, it's a tough one to gauge, Chad, because to me, the Bills are just way better right now than this Jaguars team. Like, if Ritter was not a corpse, I think Atlanta would have been in that game and might have won that game against the Jaguars. So something's not right with this Jacksonville team, but this is such a letdown spot for the Bills team, and it's such a big number for a neutral site. Just a weird game. So I'm happy I don't have to make a pick on this one yet, but definitely lean towards the Jaguars.
Yeah, reminder that the Thursday night football games and the early European kickoffs are not included in the favorites contest, so you can't pick those games.
We can't take that Bills or Jags anyway.
We can't take it anyway, so we don't have to worry about it. But it is like, look, we like playing as many games as we can. As you once said to me, there's only so many football games, so you want to bet as many of them as you can, right?
Well, I'm doing that this year, dude. I'm trying to do it on our action app. I'm trying to bet every game, not every total, but just about. And it's been fucking tough. Like, the fans wanted me to do it, and I've been trying to do it, man. And it is hard because I tell people all the time, a normal week, I'll make 3 pretty large bets, and then I'll bet every game, but every game's a little different, right? This year, I've been trying to give out every single game, every side, almost every total I can, and it is fucking hard. That's why we always say, like, the key to this is you narrow down from the 16 games to the 3 or 4 you really like. And like last week, went 5-0. That's the dream scenario where it's like you have 5, but you can bet them all, go crazy. But you really want to lock in on a couple games because we say all the time, it is so hard to get all these games right.
Well, look, I think in October, or it was the 2018 or 2019 season. I can't remember. I did something called Project 265. I think that's how many games there were, where I bet
every game.
I bet every single game, and I had a crazy winning percentage. I can't remember what it was. I'm trying to find the stories as we talk about it, and I can't. Maybe Evan or Matt Mitchell can find it while we're doing the podcast. But I say this not to self promote. People should Google search like Chad Millman project, and we'll give you the real number before the end of the show. But I did it and wrote a column about it every week, wrote a wrap-up story at the end of the year. It was crazy hard. It was crazy fun, but I did win. And so, that was exciting. Josh Allen, by the way, 59 wins in his career, 45 of those 59 wins have been by 7 points or more. Okay. Here we go, Simon. Getting to the heart of the matter. We still owe people, as Simon says, we still owe people an exec decision. Last night, the New York Football Giants put on a display that was so pathetic. It looked like the kind of team you expected them to be without Brian Daboll's coaching magic. And you had to wonder why they did what they did with Daniel Jones. Truly pathetic performance. Last night before the game, the Giants were a 9-point underdog to Miami this weekend in Miami. They are now 11-point underdogs. They have not scored a first half touchdown.
No, normally I'd be all over this Giants number, but they have no O-line and they have no way of scoring. How are they going to keep up with one of the best offenses we've ever seen? Even if Miami is an off game, do they really score less than 30 points against this terrible Giants defense? And can we really trust Daniel Jones to put up more than 30 points with this offense that is just going to be inconsistent all year? They just don't have the pass blockers. And it's like, I'd love to shit on Daniel Jones. Yeah, he made some horrible reads and stuff like that. He was getting destroyed from the first snap on. Like, what was the final snacks? Do you even know? Was it 11? It was some absurd number. I don't know what the exact number was, but it was crazy. Yeah, it was 11. So, I want to be on the Giants here. Like, this feels like the spot to take them. Maybe I will by Thursday's show, but I was just saying right now, I don't have a penny on this Giants team. I don't know what to do with this just because I'm trying to find a way to convince myself and find a scenario where they can beat or cover this number against Miami. And it's really hard to get there. Like, this is a team that I think Chad talked about. Like, last year, we saw the best it could ever possibly be with Daniel Jones, it feels like, in this offense. And they got duped. They paid him the money, and that sucks, but that is what it is. So this Giants team, we were all over their under coming into the season. Just, we all knew regression was coming, and it is hitting them hard.
It's so interesting, right? Because what did the Giants GM, what did Brian Daboll see in Daniel Jones to convince themselves that 1 year of him playing okay was worthy of the contract that they gave him? Nobody lives like that. Like, when there's a great employee who has one good year, you don't all of a sudden give them the biggest contract that you could possibly give and tie your entire future success to that person. Like, that's what Brian Daboll did. That's what this GM did. They tied their hands to Daniel Jones.
They're a little stuck, though. Like, he won that playoff game, and they were like, what are we going to do? There's no other option. Are we going to really go get Jimmy G? So, yeah, I'm with you on it. It felt like they were just stuck where, unless they came out and just said, we're going to tank this upcoming year, which obviously they should have done now, hindsight. But, yeah, I'm with you. They're kind of just stuck where it's like, the guy won a playoff game. Are really not going to re-sign him? So, I don't know the whole language of the contract for them, but I do think they can get out of it after next season.
Well, I hope so. Too bad they can't get out
Me
of it
too.
this season, right? So there's a couple things that I do think are worth paying attention to here. The Giants are terrible. 0 takeaways. Fifth team with 0 takeaways through 4 games.
Crazy.
All right. Number one. Number two, the Giants defense has 18 pressures on opposing QBs this season. That's the lowest in the NFL. Tua has been pressured on just 12 dropbacks
And 11 of them come against the Bills.
And 11 of them came against the Bills, right? So the one thing.
No, this is a bad. Even just when you're reading those stats now, it's like shit. We might have to go fucking chalk and take Miami. Like this number might be too low. This might need to be 2 touchdowns.
So here's the thing. We've seen this before. Teams who score 3 points or less the previous week, 61% against the spread.
They're that 39.
Okay, that could be. It could be right. Right, exactly.
That's what that stat means.
61% doesn't mean 100%. It just means 2/3 of the time.
But no, you need a couple of broken eggs in there for the omelet. So they're the ones, man.
But we did see it. Listen, who was it last weekend? It was Tennessee, which we loved.
Yeah,
and it was Bears. Somebody else, and
Washington.
And Washington, which we like.
Thank you, Evan.
So, like both teams. Also, I do wonder, Teron Armstead is out for Miami. Is this a chance where Wink Martindale's pressure gets through? Because we saw how badly Miami's offensive line played against Buffalo, getting pressure on Tua. Is this a small chance? Is that the window that the Giants can use to take advantage and keep this game, within 2 touchdowns?
He missed the first 3 weeks. So it don't matter. Like the way Mike McDaniels designed the offense is he basically is given to a hot read that's why he wasn't really taking hits. But you saw what happened. Miami was able to take them out of their flow. And that's when things kind of got erratic, right? But you saw that first quarter. I mean, even into that second quarter, when Tua's in rhythm, that offense is going. The heads will be spinning on the Giants defense. Like they can blitz all they want. McDaniels is going to counter it. Like this guy is a really good coach. That Bills scenario was just a perfect spot. So again, I was going to try to convince myself coming in here to get on the Giants. Just after talking to you, Chad, I think I hate to say it but chalk does win every now and then. This might be a nice spot to take some chalk on the Dolphins against just a decimated Giants team.
Well, also, look, a team that just was blown out coming back for a big win is not unsurprising and not a bad side to take either.
Yeah.
So, we're putting it on the board. It's on the board. We're going to continue the conversation. A game that we know we have to talk about. The Saints, 1.5-point dogs at Bet365 at the Patriots. There are not many reasons to like the Saints team. Their offense is truly, truly horrible. I was reading Bill Barnwell's column yesterday on ESPN.com. Couple stats to point out. 28th in success rate, 27th in expected yards per carry, 28th in league points per drive. Their offense, Pete Carmichael, their coordinator, not putting Derek Carr in a position to succeed, especially with play action, which is what he was so good at. Number 1 quarterback off play action. 2 years ago, they've had him just do 10 play action passes per Barnwell through 4 games. So the average team has 29. Terrible in the red zone. But Matthew Judon out for an extended period of time. Christian Gonzalez out. The only reason we like the Patriots is because of their defense. Now that kind of defense is missing their 2 best players.
No, you nailed it. What we talked about before you came on here is people are probably gonna be hesitant just because we don't know what's going on with Derek Carr and he might be injured, and that is fair. But if we're just talking about the better team, it has to be the Saints now with all the injuries to this New England team. And yes, the Saints had a horrible game last week. I honestly thought they were going to fire their OC before this game and make a change because you can still kind of get away with it this early in the season where you can get rid of a guy, have someone else come in, try to redo everything. And I guess they didn't want to make that move yet, but there in no world should Kamara be catching 13 balls for 33 yards. And that's what happened last week with the Saints offense. Like your number 1 guy is Olave. Olave had 1 catch for 4 yards. So I don't know what they're going to do, what they're going to change, but I guarantee you it starts right there. Like in no world should Kamara be getting 13 catches and Olave gets 1 catch. This kid is incredible. So I know they're going to make those corrections. On the flip side now, we have no one, like you just said, we have no one we fear now on this Patriots team where they lost a guy I talked about. I feel like Belichick had his shutdown corner, and that was a big deal. And with Gonzalez gone, I do think that's really going to affect their secondary. Now you have a team coming in not only they have a lot, but they have Michael Thomas and Rashid. Like they have really good weapons on the outside. So their car stuff makes me a little nervous. Where it's like I would make this, as Simon says, like try to make Chad make this up, but don't be shocked if this is one of our 5 on Sunday. If we like what we're hearing about Derek Carr and this number is still good, just because I do think it's crazy to say, but I would make the Patriots an underdog here at home. So I do think we're getting good value here on the Saints team.
Yeah, I'm very close to making it the exact decision. And it because it just does feel like the Saints looked so bad. The fact they're an underdog, even after Judon and Gonzalez are out, is kind of stunning to me.
Yeah.
And the one of the reasons I'm hesitating is because I'm still seeing money come in on the Patriots, which doesn't make sense to me.
But it's the Belichick effect. It's the same reason idiots like me were taking them last week against Dallas, where it's like you're thinking that they'll be able to get it right on defense. And my guy Matt Mitchell has a baseball game to get to. This show is going an hour and a half long, Matt. I got some bad news for you, buddy. You're going to be a little late to that baseball game. We're in no rush after going 5-0, my friend.
Oh my God, that's so funny. All right, New Orleans and New England is going to be is likely to be one of our 5. You know what?
Yeah.
I'm calling it now. I'm calling it now. Exact decision.
Really? Without knowing what's up with Derek?
Yep, I'm okay.
Don't do this. We did this last week with Vegas. Don't do this to me.
I'm doing it.
Oh God.
Baltimore at Pittsburgh. The Steelers are 3.5. This line moved down from 4.5. Look, classic Tomlin spot.
I know.
Not just that, but in this series, right? Like in this series, here's some great stats. In this series, the underdog in this series, 22-5-3 against the spread. When Tomlin faces Harbaugh, the underdog has covered 11 straight in this rivalry and is 15-1-1 against the spread since 2015. When this line is 3 or more since 2005, the underdog is 21-3-3.
Fucking A. Yeah. I hate it just because we both hate it because we think Mitch is going to play.
What are we going to do here? Now I hate it because we didn't bet it at 4.5.
Well, still getting a good number of 4. Yeah. I mean, I guess because of those stats, I mean, those are amazing trends that base off of. Like, I already wanted to take Pittsburgh here because it is a home divisional dog. We are getting a team in Pittsburgh that I assume the public was going to leave them for dead. Like, that's why I thought this number would keep going up and everyone was going to come in on this Ravens team. But the Ravens are banged up. Like, they're a team that has a ton of injuries, and you didn't really see that last week because the Browns just rolled over. But you did see it against that Colts team. Like, it just seemed like the Ravens should be much more superior than that Colts team. They kept it close because the Colts do have talent. But, you know, this Pittsburgh team, Chad. Oh, man, yeah. You're making the right call because of all the bets we talked about. This is making me sick thinking about taking Pittsburgh. But I think you're right. Like, all those stats you read off, you want to back the dog here, especially the home dog in these divisional matchups. And, yeah, 4.5 in the contest. If it's that in Sunday, I don't know how we don't put that as one of our 5. Like, this is just a nice Tomlin spot, but man, does it make me feel sick.
Well, look, I think the big reason why we're talking about it is because the Steelers defense is not what it was in any point in this rivalry, right? And their secondary isn't very good right now. Their run defense isn't very good.
I feel like the coaching's just bad. Both sides.
They're just not the same team. So it's giving me a little bit of pause.
Yeah, it's fair.
We're hesitating right now. We are hesitating. Another big game. Carolina at Detroit. Detroit is -9. Nick Giffen will tell you this is an unofficial luck rankings bet because there's a huge difference between Carolina and Detroit in terms of luck. And in this scenario, luck teams meeting this threshold that I'm discussing, 63.5% against the spread since 2018, 71% for road teams. So huge luck differential. But Jared Goff, like, I feel like we got to back the Panthers.
Yeah. It's also a good spot for the Panthers where, you know, Detroit just coming off a huge win they party for 4 days, right? Because it was a Thursday game.
Yeah.
They win in Lambeau. That's got to be a fun weekend for the boys, right? Just getting after it. Then you come back in on practice this week. Everyone's still blowing smoke up your ass all week. Panthers, they just feel like a teams are going to start overlooking because they are so bad. Even on film, they are really bad. Bryce Young is really bad on film right now. I told you, like, I would have been all over the Panthers last week if it was Andy Dalton. And I was completely like, okay, I'll go Vikings. It's Bryce Young. And I want to have the same mentality here where it's like, I don't know how this kid's going to get down the field and score points. Like, that's my biggest fear of this kid right now is he doesn't have any command of the offense where you have confidence in CJ, you have confidence in Anthony Richardson to take the ball down the field. And yeah, this is a really tough one, Chad, because it's such a big number and it's a really nice spot to back Carolina. But I think it's one of those people you can wait and hope this gets up to 10 because people are going to be sitting there just like me and Chad. We know this number's too high. Like, everyone knows this number's too high. But the question is this Detroit team just that good now? Like, where they're just going to be blowing out, steamrolling these teams? Because what they did to Green Bay was really impressive. Like, he came out, I believe he threw a pick on their first drive, gave up 3 points. He went out there, drove the field, scored a touchdown, and there was no looking back. Like, Golf got that energy right now, and he's at home inside. This is usually where we back him. So this is a hard one. I'm definitely fighting myself with it where it's like, I know this is a big number. I know I should take the Panthers, but I make this number 10. Right now, my value is technically on Detroit, but it's just like so chalky. I just can't get there.
Yeah, I actually put in our notes. Is it possible the Lions are the right side in this spot?
According to my model, they are, but like the human element, it's hard for me to get there just because of just having this whole week after that Green Bay win. But again, they might be that team. I told you I wanted to move them above Dallas if they'd won that game against Green Bay. I'm literally right there just because of the injury to Diggs with Dallas now. Like, literally the power rating's right there. This is another game. If they win this and Dallas loses the 49ers, I won't be shocked next week on Monday if we're here. And it's like, yep, I got the Lions now up number 3. They're that team right now. So definitely an interesting game for them. Oh, wow. You see the stat from Evan?
No, what did it say?
They haven't been favored by a touchdown or more since September 10th, 2018.
Oh, yeah.
And that was against the Jets. So, yeah, been about 5 years for this Lions team since they've been favored by this many points.
Houston and Atlanta. This is a game that we talked about on the Sunday night show. When the line opened, it was 3.5. And you said, I'm waiting for it to get below 3. You didn't have to wait long as it won Monday morning. Now Atlanta is favored by 2. I texted you yesterday and said, have you bet Atlanta yet at -1? And you said no. What are you waiting on?
I was hoping they get to a dog. I was just like, all week it's just going to be the CJ Stroud show. Like, I said that on, I think, Sunday night. It's like, I saw the tape, I watched the game, and I texted you yesterday, I rewatched, and it's like, this kid is incredible. He's playing out of his mind. Every time he's about to get buried by TJ Watt, he made the right read, the right hot route, the right throw. Crazy. I mean, it really is crazy. Like, never saw this coming. I had CJ for months as my number 1 quarterback. It was what I pitched to the team to take. And I think, a week or 2 before the season, the draft, I should say, I moved Richardson to my number 1 QB just because of a cognitive test. Boy, do I feel like a fucking idiot. Like, those tests are bullshit, apparently, because this kid is a football savant. Like, the reads he's making, maybe it's just the perfect moment, Chad. Maybe this kid's just having a moment. It's all clicking, and he'll come back to earth, crashing to earth. But we've never seen anything like this. I'm having a hard time how to handicap it. Atlanta is going to be a big bet for me this week. I'm all over this number. You can make it Simon Says, even though the number sucks now that it's moved to 2. I was hoping it was going to stay at 1.5, or maybe move to a dog, but I love this spot for Atlanta. Everyone is totally giving up on this team. Houston will be the most public dog of the week. Atlanta is not as bad as they've looked, people. And I get where you're coming from, the hype on the Texans, like, oh, you just don't believe in this kid? We do believe in him. Me and Chad, if you go back and lift our draft shows, we were all over CJ, hyping him up, talking about how great this kid could be. I never saw this coming. Like, what we've seen through 4 weeks is something just to be incredible. And if you're a Houston fan, hell, they might be the most excited fan base on football. Like, it looks like they got their guy. Like, they nailed the draft. So I hate to be the guy to drag them back down here, but this is insane. Like this team, the hype, all of it. This should be 3. That's why I said to you on Sunday, like, if this goes below 3, I'm going to be all over this Atlanta team, and it is. And do not be shocked if CJ has a total meltdown in this game and he just has a bad game where he had a great matchup against Jacksonville. He played well, but wasn't like incredible. They had a kick return. They had a bunch of stuff in that game. And then you had this Pittsburgh game where he did play really well. Like I said, he had incredible throws and both his tackles were out. He's got like, I don't even think he has a single starter. Maybe he has one starter left on that line from preseason. It's all about Atlanta here to me, where it's like, I don't think Ritter's as bad as people perceive. He had a horrible game. I think, they get them back on track. This is, to me, a total trendsetter of your entire season. Atlanta loses this. I think they missed the playoffs. Houston wins this. Now I have to start thinking, okay, this team actually might be for real in this division. It might make the playoffs. But as far as it goes and how we play the situations, this is a classic letdown spot from Houston. They played against Pittsburgh, who, say what you want about them. That was really a Kenny Pickett, just a total meltdown game. Like he gifted that to them. So I know it's really hard to back Atlanta because I know all of you guys watched that game in England. You gotta forget it. You gotta move on to this week and play the number, and you're getting a good number here against a rookie coach and a rookie QB on the road under 3 in Atlanta. Come on, we got to take this number.
Yeah, look, Desmond Ridder is going to be the starting quarterback. There was conversation, at least speculation, rumor. People
were hoping,
would Taylor Heineke be the starting quarterback? Arthur Smith said Desmond Ridder is going to be the starter.
Crazy.
By the way, according to the luck rankings, the Falcons were the least lucky team. Oh no, the second least lucky team this past weekend. Bears were 3, Falcons were 2. We're going to get to number 1. So, there's a lot of things that you want to fade when it comes to the Texans and their performance, and you want to bet on as far as the Falcons and their performance. And you're not wrong. 72% of the money of the tickets coming in on the Texans right now. So like,
but is the money coming in on Atlanta? It's gotta be pro money.
There's not a ton of money on Atlanta right now. But,
I'm shocked by that. Yeah. I'd assume it was pro money would come in on this one.
No. I mean, I think pro money has come in on it, which is why it's moved, but I mean, it's moved in the direction of the Texans. So there hasn't been a ton of money coming in at the books I'm looking at on the Falcons right now. But that might change now that it got down to 1 and now it's at 1.5 and 2 in some places. So it's starting to balance out. Titans visiting the Colts. Look, I asked a question on Sunday night about the Titans. You shot me down. Some would say it wasn't very nice. The people who sometimes feel like you're not very nice to me would say that. You might say you were just answering a question. Whatever it is, I bet the Colts at 1.5, and now the number's closer to pick. Money's coming in on the Colts.
Like what? You got the Colts at a dog?
No. I bet the Colts at -1.5.
Oh, so money's coming in on the Titans.
The bets are on the Titans. The money is on the Colts right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, again, another time I like this spot where we talk all the time. It's all about the number. If this number was +3, maybe 2.5, I'd be all over this Titans team. It's not. It's too short. It's too much of a reaction to what they did last week to Joe Burrow. And the simplest way I can break it down to people is the Titans are really, really, really good at the D tackle position, but the rest of their defense has a lot of holes and a lot of weaknesses to it. And the way you can attack it is getting a mobile quarterback outside the pocket against them. And you saw against the Browns, that's exactly what the Browns did with Watson, and it worked really well against the Tennessee team. I really like this coaching staff for the Colts. Like, watching that game yesterday, all the positions they put Anthony Richardson in, it really looks like it's all clicking there. Like the same thing where CJ is being put in good positions to succeed with this Texans team. It feels the same with Richardson. And we talked about it. He had a slow start in that first half, right? It's like he's coming back from an injury. These rookies are all going to hit different walls at different points. And I thought, okay, he's going to let this one slip away. It was just going to be a bad game against the Rams. And he totally flipped it in the second half and really made some incredible throws with Aaron Donald tackling him and things like that, which if you like film room, we're going to be breaking down some Richardson plays tomorrow. Um, it's all about the number for this one for me, where I totally get it. If you're like, well, you guys always said bet Vrabel as a dog. Totally fair, but it's all about situations. And we faded Vrabel as a 3.5-point dog against Cleveland. Like that was just playing a spot, playing the situation. It feels kind of the same here, where this Colts team is better than people perceive, and Tennessee is not as good as people perceive. Like that Bengals team just is not the same team they were last year. I think people need to get rid of that idea in their head right now. Like Joe Burrow clearly is not the same guy. So we're buying low on a team, the Colts, that they almost came back. I believe it was 23-3 or 23-0, and they almost came back and stole that game from the Rams. I like this team's moxie, and I like this number. And Richardson, they keep putting him in the best position to win. And looking at this matchup, I think Tennessee's defense is really going to struggle with the playing style of Richardson. So, yeah, little spooky taking a rookie head coach and a rookie quarterback against Vrabel. But I'm going to trust the number. I think it's a good spot here. So not shocked to see that it's a lot of tickets right now in Tennessee. It just feels like the Colts here are the smart play.
I want everyone to make Little Caesars, which is the official pizza sponsor of the NFL, part of your game day. Simon, can you tell me right now, would you like to eat more or less than 20 pieces of pizza on game day?
More.
Order online during our pizza pregame 1 hour before NFL games and get ready for some football and fun. Choose your favorite Little Caesars pizza or pick the toppings you crave. Simon, what toppings do you think Lions coach Dan Campbell gets when he orders Little Caesars?
Feet. Ankles.
However you order your pizza, no matter how creative, you win. And speaking of winning, everyone scores with convenient delivery or our in-store pizza portal pickup. So grab some friends and enjoy a few slices during the game. All right. One of the other games that is fascinating, and you just mentioned Cincinnati. On Sunday night, when we talked about Cincinnati and Arizona, the Bengals were favored by 6. Now they're favored by 3. Moved to 5 while we were recording. It just kept moving. So much love for the Cards because of how they compete. So much hate for the Bengals, who look lost. At some point, we got to think about betting on the Bengals here, right?
I know, that's why it scares me, where it's like, I can't believe they're begging for Bengals money. It's crazy how it's already shifted that much, but yeah, you'll lose money on the Bengals enough. I guess the public's just totally off of them. So don't know what to do with this one. Like, I wanted to take the Cardinals. We talked about this one. I was hoping to go back up, and it's gone complete other direction. So this will be a quick one. We'll probably touch more on Thursday, but I got no opinion on it right now. It's like, it's sitting there at 3. I want to take the Bengals, but like, me and Chad have been around the block too long just to step right into it. So I'm going to keep waiting, but definitely very tempting to back this Bengals team that, yes, they are very bad. I don't know if they're this bad. Like, the Cardinals still, as good as they've played and they've looked, this is the team that has a lot of weaknesses. So definitely pretty interesting that we're getting this number here on a Bengals team that, didn't they just hang 3? Are they part of that equation from last week? Are they a team that only put up 3 points last week, where it's like, are they part of the 61% and we're supposed to back them here? So definitely, if it gets to 2.5 in our contest, I don't know, me and Chad Sunday morning, that's going to be a conversation that's going to be tough to pass on, taking the Bengals at that number.
Well, look, this is when betting gets interesting, right? Why do we decide that some teams that look terrible are the right ones to play in the bounce back, and some teams that look terrible are the wrong ones to play in the bounce back? Like, it's so nuanced. The line is always moving on these formulas. It's not just a solid play this team because of X, play this team because of Y system. Like, you got to think about everything. And Cincinnati's offense does not look good. So we're going to have a lot of hard conversations come Thursday and come Sunday if this line keeps moving. I think it'll settle at 3. And then we're just going to have to decide, did it move too much? This next game to me is fascinating. The Eagles visiting the Rams. It was at 5.5. It's been bet down to 4.5. Believe the Rams are undefeated against the spread. The Eagles are undefeated in real games and still haven't looked very good. So what do we make of these teams?
Yeah, I think you had a good read on. I think you said you liked the Rams, and you were like thinking about taking them at 5.5. And my pause was I thought Stafford got gotten banged up in their game, and I wanted to hear what the reports were. And it sounds like he's going to play through whatever the injury is. McVay came on and said like he thinks he's going to play. We're apparently supposed to get Cooper Kupp back. That's why we like the Rams. Like we were saying, if you got Cooper Kupp, with all these other guys who have really showed up here, even Williams, the running back for the Rams, has looked great.
Yeah.
So, Puka set the record. I think everyone's talking about it, where it's like, is this guy just going to fall off a cliff now with Cooper Kupp coming back? I don't really see it being like that. Like Stafford seems to be comfortable with this kid, and even when he was triple covered, Stafford still had trust in him. Where like instead of looking for other guys, Stafford like trusted himself to be able to fit in the window and for Puka to make the catch, and he does. Like the kid's got incredible hands. So, yeah, Chad. Like if we're talking about feeling a little chalky, it's probably is taking the Rams here. But luckily for us, it's not. Like if you want to grab the 4.5, I would now. I could see this keep dropping. I could see if Stafford's all good to go, I could see this by game time getting down to 3.5. This is a crazy game where it's like I think Chad's right in saying there are a lot of questions right now about the Eagles, even though they are 4-0. But this is a great matchup for that Eagles D line. Like this front five for the Rams ain't nothing to rave home about. So if you could, I'd grab the 4.5 now, just because I do think this will keep dropping. The pros just seem to love this Rams team. We've seen, like Chad just said, 3-0-1, and depends when you got that number. That one was a push against the Bengals. You could have got 6.5 when we gave it out that Sunday night, and you could have got 3.5 all day Monday the next day. So they're really, to a lot of people, they're 4-0. This Rams team has just been incredible this season for covering.
Yeah, it's a tricky game. Like I know in my head the right side is the Rams, and in my heart I keep thinking the Eagles are just getting better and better. And they're just one of those teams. They play with a kind of confidence where they don't feel the pressure. They're not acting with irrational urgency is what I would call it. Meaning they know they're good. They know how to win. They're putting themselves in a position to win when they need to, and they're working out their issues at the same time. And that's really fucking hard to do. Like they're changing the wheels on a semi as it rolls down the road. And that's just impressive. So I like.
Yeah, they got bad injuries too. Their number 2 and number 3 corners are out, and their middle starting linebackers out. So it is a team that, if Stafford's got all of his guns back, you're going to be able to pass the ball. We just saw Sam Howell look like an all-pro against his secondary.
Yep. The Chiefs are on the road at the Vikings. On Sunday night, I was very tempted to take the Chiefs or the Vikings at +6.
Yeah, good call.
And I didn't do it.
I couldn't get there with you because I was like, oh, this number will keep going up. Because, again, the Chiefs hadn't played yet. And our whole thinking was, if the Chiefs do cover this number tonight, you might be able to get 6.5, 7. Luckily for me and Chad, they did not cover that number. And my man Mahomes took the slide.
Yeah, right?
Because he knew there was some BS holding penalty a couple plays before. And, looking at this Minnesota team, it is scary to back this number. But me and Chad say it all the time. We only back Mahomes when he's under a field goal or a dog. We fade Mahomes when he's over a field goal. So we're getting 5.5, people. Like, it sucks, but we're playing the percentages here. Like, if you play the percentages, this is a smart bet to make on Minnesota. Yes, Kirk looked like dog shit against Carolina. This is a different scenario. This is Kirk at home. Kirk at home is a different player. He always plays better at home. And, I'm not going to – another thing I want to react to is I said something looks right about the Chiefs' offense, and we saw that against the Jets, right? He had all those terrible picks and those turnovers. I'm trying not to react to that because this Minnesota defense is horrible. Yeah. They are so bad. If you look on paper, this defense, man, they might be bottom 26, 27. Like, they're way down there, one of the worst defenses in football. So definitely a game where you're making this bet on the Vikings. It's a bet on Kirk Cousins. Like, that's what me and Chad are saying here is, like, Kirk will keep us in this game. He'll be able to keep up with Mahomes and score points. Hate it, but another one that's like, might not be in our big balls bet of the week. Maybe that is every week going against the Chiefs, but it feels that way where it's like, take Kirk and the points here. It's too big of a spread. Like this to me should be closer to 4, 5, 5.5. That's a good number. So yeah, it sucks. I talked you off getting the 6, Chad. You were spot on getting that Sunday night, but that's one of those I regret not grabbing because we had a good read. We should have took the number and we should have known that the Chiefs weren't going to cover that. So that's definitely a tough one to swallow.
Here's a number that is scary if you're going to bet on the Minnesota Vikings against arguably the greatest statistical quarterback who's ever lived already. They have allowed the 6th highest completion percentage all time through 4 games so far this year. I'm not saying we shouldn't do it because I also believe this is a shootout game, right? Like this is the exact type of game. Kansas City comes into Minnesota and it is a classic witching hour game, final possession game. Like that's how this game to me ends up going. It is how you like that game from Kirk Cousins. To me, that's how it plays out. All right. Our favorite team, the New York Jets, visiting the Denver Broncos. Broncos are 2.5-point favorites. The Broncos defense, I just gave you the stat about the Vikings. The Broncos defense has allowed the highest completion percentage all time through 4 games. Meanwhile, we have to be asking ourselves, did the Jets see something with Zach Wilson they think they can replicate against the defense like this? I feel like we're at peak Jets. We can, and I know it's hard to take the Broncos because we might be at peak Broncos too, but the Broncos might be the right side here.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, this number's too short. If it was 3.5, I would have loved the Jets. That would have been a great number. Another time to fade this Broncos team over a field goal. That would have been great, but it's not. Like people are now in on Zach Wilson. They're thinking what you're thinking, which is like, well, if he can do it against the Chiefs, such a great defense, surely he'll be able to pass and do well against this terrible defense on the Denver. And it's like, NFL don't work that way. Like one game you got, the next game you don't. That's what makes so hard the quarterback position. It's like all these guys are uber talented and great athletes. It's week to week consistency. That's the hardest thing in the NFL. It's like to be consistent week to week. Such a letdown spot for this Jets team. Like that was, I felt like they put everything into that Chiefs game. It was right there. I mean, that guy, I think it was a punt, right? It was 2020. They punted it. This guy had one man to beat, and he tripped up for this Jets team. They'd end up not scoring or winning that game. And it was like, it was all there for that team. On the flip side, Denver, even if you're scared off by this defense, it's Russell Wilson that's making me feel okay taking this number, Chad. Like this guy has been playing really well in this Sean Payton offense, and he's not doing the stupid shit he was doing last year. Like it's night and day seeing what he did last year to this year, where if it's not there, he's not going to just force it. You either use his legs, he'll throw it out of bounds, or take the easy check down instead of forcing it and turn the ball over, which he couldn't stop doing last year. So I've loved what I've seen from Russ this year. It's none of the blame I put on him for what Denver start. It's all been about their defense. So totally fair if you're hesitant because Denver has one of the worst. I mean, Chad has told you they have one of the worst defenses ever statistically. But Russell Wilson makes me feel confident taking this one. Like I'm getting Russ against Zach Wilson. Pretty comparable teams, right? I'd give the Jets a little bit of an edge just because their defense is that much better of a unit, but not that much difference to make it under a field goal. So I get it. Public's going to come in on this Jets team. They're going to be hyped up about this Zach Wilson stuff, but I got to just fade that noise and take what I think is the better quarterback right now and Russell Wilson under a field goal at home.
It's so interesting because Russell Wilson, we expected him to be better with Sean Payton. No one expected this defense to be nearly as historically bad as it has been. And that's been their biggest issue. Russell Wilson just like in the first couple of games in the first half, like they even made adjustments off of that. But this defense can't stop anybody. It's
crazy.
It's going to be a hard one for us to make. Simon, can you name the fastest growing ticketing app in the United States?
Game Time.
Game Time. That's our sponsor. I love Game Time for 2 reasons. One, they sponsor this show. Number 2, I actually use Game Time to buy tickets. They've got amazing last minute deals on all sorts of tickets, including pro and college football games. I'm opening Game Time right now from my house here in Connecticut. The beauty of where I live, I can be in Boston in almost as little time as I can be in New York. And this weekend, if I wanted to, I could get into the Saints-Patriots game for less than $160. live NFL. No matter where you live, download the Game Time app, get out and have some fun this week. Go sweat your bets live and in person, and you can redeem code favorites for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, just download the app and enter code favorites for $20 off. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. As a reminder, for the second time, producer Tito wants me to tell you, you can catch every episode of The Favorites live on YouTube. For those enjoying it on YouTube, don't forget to give us a like, subscribe to the Action Network YouTube page. San Francisco, 3.5-point favorite at home against Dallas. I feel like San Francisco is the class of the NFC right now, and I feel like there are no holes either. This isn't a fluky 3.5. This isn't a, hold your nose 3.5. I feel like this is a solid 3.5, and you're getting the best of the number 3.5. Simon, this was an immediate bet on our pod on Sunday night.
Yeah, and if you do want the other side, though, there is one weakness to this 49ers team. That's their O-line, Chad. Like, they have one of the best tackles in football, and the rest of it's just a bunch of trash held together by an incredible run blocking scheme that Shanahan's designed. So if you're looking for the one weakness in the 49ers team, it is that O-line. And if that's what the Cowboys can exploit, yes, they could if they get a big lead. Me and you don't see them getting a big lead, right? So it's just me and Chad are going to play the numbers here. We're going to take the team we think is better.
Yeah, this is my so far my biggest bet of the week. One of the bigger bets I've made this season. Probably a small home video kit, laptop, cameras, lights, all those kinds of things. But that's our take on the Cowboys and the Niners. We like the Niners here. Monday Night Football, Green Bay visiting the Packers. Green Bay visiting the Raiders. Raiders 2-point underdogs here. Raiders were the most unlucky team in week 4. I talked about the Bears.
Perfect.
I talked about the Bears and I talked about the Falcons. Look, we were both on the Raiders against the Chargers. Even though they gave multiple short fields to the Chargers, they still had a chance to score, if not for a bad read by a rookie quarterback in his first start at the Chargers 3-yard line led to a pick. So I'm getting a home dog in prime time. I feel like we got to take the Raiders here.
Yeah, and I'll save my big breakdown for Thursday's show on this one once I have my laptop again. But because I don't want the video crew putting this video of me out like this. But yeah, Raiders, I love them this week. Love them in this spot. Hoping this gets the 3. It's just great buy low opportunity and a team that it definitely feels like not that it doesn't feel like that it's too easy and that like it's like no brainer. Me and Chad are going to make this one. But even on Sunday night when I saw this number, I was like, well, probably gonna end up on the Raiders again this week. So I'm grabbing the 2.5 now. I think you all should, just in case Jimmy G gets cleared and this number does come down. But even if it's O'Connell, I like what I saw from the kids. So definitely a game I'm going to break down more for you guys on Thursday. But yeah, grab that number now, 2.5. Was going to make this my Simon Says, but with all the movement on that Atlanta number, I just want you to get the 2 or 1.5 before it goes to 2.5, 3. So both these games I would grab now.